highly sensitive, so we feel everything. So we come on live and we feel everything, and it's beautiful, it's amazing. And we align and attune, come back to our breath so that we can stay aligned in our body. So today I'm sharing a message from the Tao, and this is a card that I pulled as we were getting started to see what is it that we need to know now. And the card that came through for us sounds so easy, yet without humility, it's impossible. Respecting how delicate and precious this life is engenders humbleness and the willingness to live in accordance with the way of the Tao. So thank you for dropping in. This is line 1. We're going to share about the 6 lines of the hexagram and the ways that we may feel that particular energy of small is beautiful. Stay with the tried and true. If that fails to bring results, it's not because the traditional doesn't cut it. It's because you weren't ready to take on all that was being asked of you. So maybe somebody here had to hear that message. Line 2, maybe this is a relationship, or maybe this is somebody that's in a relationship. To a certain extent, your hands are tied. Even under the present challenging circumstances, with sensitivity and a positive outlook, all will work out. You might find the results exceed your expectations. This is someone that's got a little network going on. You have seriously overextended yourself. Continuing in this driven manner would be disastrous. Better to back off than risk a head-on collision. So you know who you are if that was coming through for you. So this is just to add that awareness. We can say, yeah, time to take a break. Time to take an extended play day. Line 4, getting a little bit bigger, bringing this into community. The situation calls for absolute awareness. Take every precaution to not ruffle feathers. Pressing on in spite of this warning would not only be foolish, but you'd wind up in a real mess. Forewarned is forearmed. Sit tight and keep a low profile. You know, a lot of us get in this idea around the thinking that we're procrastinators, but there's also like a hypervigilance in our society to always be doing something. So procrastinating can actually be, we just need to rest, to integrate what's going on, and then it's gonna like pour through us. So sometimes that when we feel like we haven't gotten an answer to a question that we have, it's because you haven't slowed down and made the space for the answer to come through. All it takes is a couple deep breaths, a moment of pause. Sometimes it's a car ride around, like sometimes it's a walk in nature. Sometimes it's just sitting with your pen and paper and a notebook. But we gotta make the space for the insights to come through. Otherwise, we are gonna be confused because there's like so much data and there's not enough space to integrate it. And our society loves to bypass integration. Everyone goes to the medicine ceremonies. Nobody wants to show up for the integration. And this is the collective energy right now. It's like, y'all, we are collectively doing this moral inventory. This is the end of days, the judgment days. So have you aligned with the perfection of your being, the integrity of why you're here? Or are you still just showing up for the 3rd and 4th cup and you're like, fuck with the integration of any of this? So, you know, something to think about during the new moon when we have a solar eclipse, and it's like, how can you end the addictive behavior? Whatever it is that's come out of right relationship, it's an addiction to something. You've been addicted to some story, to some substance, to some relationship, to some behavior, to some limiting thought. This is the time that this dark Lilith moon is like, yo, are we ready to quit that shit and release that story? So line 6. Oh, okay, wait, line 5. All right, this is your power. I'm going to share with you your power in this moment. You can't go much further without support from others, but not just anyone will do. So take the time to center yourself. Still your mind and balance any extremes that might be throwing you out of whack. So this is the justice. This is the Aries new moon. Sun's in Aries, moon's in Libra. Sun's in Libra, moon's in Libra. So we're coming into balance. By tending to these basics, you stand a good chance of attracting the expertise, understanding, and depth of character you need in others now. Top line. Icarus attempted to fly to the sun with wings made of wax. When he got too close, they melted. Bye-bye, Icarus. Now replace the name Icarus with your own. Enough said. So I posted a video meditation on YouTube yesterday of the dragonfly's dream. And this is what we're going through right now. We are experiencing this collapse of our outer shell as this inner being is crystallizing and forming. It's a whole other version of being. This is the sacred human. This is the human of devotion that's emerging from us. So if we're going to be a human of devotion, then we've got to give up the addiction. We've got to give up the victim mentality that life is happening to us. Because when we become devoted to a higher power, no matter what that higher power is, all of a sudden, somebody else can hold all the heavy shit, because we've got a higher power that allows that to be over there, so we can be in our joy. We can still have grace, and we can still go through the entire spectrum of human consciousness. But we're not carrying it all, because we've learned to have faith in our higher power. And as we do this, we start to be reborn, completely reborn from the inside out. So we're no longer living from the intellect of our head, our mind, but we're living from the experience, the wisdom of our heart, the intelligence of our bodies. So that's why so much of this awakening has been awakening the Kundalini yogas, awakening that energy that's been built up, so we can see that energy when it's been built up over in the collective, what happens with it. And so always, as within, so without, we come into alignment with our breath. How can we regulate our breath? This is the justice. Ooh, we got a lot of thunder coming through. Ooh, that was so beautiful. Dark Lilith shouting her voice about justice, ceasefire now. I hear you, sister. So what are we going to do? What are we going to say no more to? We vote with our dollar. How we spend our dollar counts. How we spend our voice counts. How we use our time matters. Let's get in touch with the most precious resource that we have, our breath. Let's align ourselves with the wisdom of our heart and the heart's intelligence, and let's take every next right step in equality, for justice, for all. I love you. Namaste.